Brad is our CEO and owner of Repcard. He is the one that has really developed the app and built it, been the brains behind every piece. Brad is an excellent person to be able to build something like this because he has been in pest control, he's been in solar. He really knows the other end of it from the front side and understands how these tools need to work for us and aid us in our job.
Yeah, like Jess said, I spent a lot of years, 10 plus years in door-to-door sales doing, being a sales rep and being a high producer, doing like the sales side, managing teams, and then running my own dealers and businesses. And so during that process, we created what's called Repcard, and it was just a way to help reps have more credibility, leverage their time in the field. And so the idea we created was a digital business card to help establish credibility and legitimacy and trust, and then follow that up with a text campaign so that you can stay in touch with these people that you engage with while they're backing out of their driveway or the most random times, right? And so that was the basis of Repcard, and it's evolved into something much bigger, as you all know. What we're going to show today is kind of going back to the basics of the digital business card and the automated follow-up. So stoked to be on the call and share this time with you.
I'm going to jump back over really quickly to our chat and see what we're dealing with here. I'm using Repcard. Alvaro says text and email drip campaigns is what he needs assistance on. So you were in the right place. You are at the right place at the right time. That's what we're going over today. Julian, are we able to put PDF files inside Repcard for quick presentations? Brad?
Yeah, so you can do that directly in like your training library. The training library doesn't have to only be rep facing, but it can be also customer facing, meaning you can have a library full of PDFs or videos that you want to use in your presentation to show to a homeowner. And then you can add those to your digital business card through a URL. If that PDF has a URL, you can add it as a call to action button. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. I'm going to give you some sauce on the text campaigns. I'm also going to share my screen and we'll dig into how to do it. And then if you want to get specific help, I can show you how to do that at the very end. So the follow-up masterclass, this is where we're unlock more sales with follow-up automation. Jumping to the next slide here, there's a total mindset shift that you need to have with follow-up. Number one is that to leverage your time, it takes time. And so when you want to be able to set up your follow-up game and you want to be able to leverage your time out in the field, or better yet, if you're a leader on this call and you want to be able to let all of your reps leverage their time, it takes a little bit of thought and effort on the front end and the preparation to be able to give and serve your team with campaigns or follow-up processes. And so it's not necessarily the quickest thing, but software can make it more efficient and better. And so we're going to spend some time today walking you through this so that there's way less friction and you're not just like stuck or thinking like, man, I don't know exactly where to go or what to do. We're going to walk you through that. The second one is that the fortune is in the follow-up. We all know that it takes multiple touch points. You can see there, Jim Rohn says that 80% of leads need 5+ touch points before they will convert. And so if you think about that number, like 80% of the people you talk to, 80 out of the next 100 people you're going to talk to require 5+ touch points. It doesn't mean that they have to be by the same person. And so some of you on this call have probably closed a sale in the last month that was kind of a laydown. But what happened was they probably had multiple touch points around the product that you're selling over the last year. Maybe it was a door-to-door guy that knocked their door a year ago, and then they saw an ad on TV, and then they saw something on Instagram, and so on, and they have these different touch points, and then you knock on their door, and they're like kind of like, warmed up and ready to buy. And so you get to take advantage of that. But imagine if you could control or curate a process where you were the first touch point, and then you were able to give more touch points and lead them right back to you to close those sales versus you're warming them up. Because sometimes you're on the other end of that. You warm them up to the idea of solar or pest control or home security or windows or turf or whatever industry you're in, fiber, and all of a sudden they don't buy from you. It's pretty common in door-to-door. It's not every door you knock you're going to sell, but then they get warmed up over the course of time, and then one of your competitors gets it. Or even worse, one of your best friends in the company closes it. And so you don't get the commission. So there's a whole mindset shift that you have to want to do follow-up. You have to want to set it up. It's not something, even AI and stuff can help you write text and do things faster, but it's not going to just be like, hey, follow up for me, and it's going to do it perfectly. You need to put some thought into it. So moving along here on today's agenda, we're going to spend probably the next 40 minutes. This webinar and masterclass was, we're going to cover a lot in kind of a short amount of time. We're not going to rush it. It's just, as we looked at the agenda of what we could put into this, we boiled it down to these 4 things. And so we're going to talk about how to schedule texts within Repcard, text campaigns, talk about mass text blasts, and then the Zapier integrations where you can kind of take it to the next level if you want to create even more automation and systems into your business. So over here, I'm in this demo account. It's called Coconut Home Services. It's an account that we built for all of our demos. So the scheduled text. So many of you may not know that inside of Repcard, when you're talking to a particular customer, let's say I'm talking to this person here, William Martin. There's different times where you could use our scheduled text function, and that comes from over here. You can go to schedule text. You can hit the plus button here, and you can actually write the text and schedule for what day and time you want it to go out. And so when to use it. Let's say that you're knocking a door, you talk to someone, you meet someone at church, whatever, and they say that they want to buy your product, but they're in a contract. And maybe, obviously you can try to overcome that objection. When I sold door to door, sometimes people were just like, hey, I'm just not going to break my contract. Like, that's just not how I am. Like, you can come back in 6 months when I'm out of contract. I'd love to, work with you or do business with you, but I'm just not going to break my contract. And so you could come here and schedule a text, hey, William, blah, 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 and write your text. And just be like, hey, let's touch base. I know we talked 4.5 months ago, 5 months ago, and I wanted to just follow up with you and talk about how we can get you into our product or service. And so you can kind of set it and forget it right there. And so instead of knocking the door, they say come back in 5 months. You go put something in your calendar. Then 5 months later, it pops up in your calendar, and then you have to go and like, who is this guy? What am I doing? What did he want? And unless you make really good notes, it's going to take you just as much time to use our feature in Repcard to just schedule the text, just schedule the automation, just schedule the follow-up. And so you can write that there. Another good time to use this function is when you're not going to be in the area. And so if you're knocking doors and maybe you went out to a lead that's an hour away from your office and you did some door knocking that day, but you're not really planning to be back in that area, and so you talk to people, you could schedule some follow-up texts based on the conversation that you had with them. Another one is when the lead requests you to follow up more than 1 or 2 days out. So maybe you're not going to be in that turf in 1 or 2 days. You don't know exactly where you're going to be. Maybe you're going on a trip or whatever. But they're like, hey, we're leaving. We're going to my son's baseball tournament. We're going to be going. It's a week long. Can you just follow up in the next 10 days, and we'll go from there. And they leave you kind of open-ended. You try to, rebuttal, overcome the objection, and at the end of it, you just didn't get where exactly you wanted to. It's okay. Go schedule a text for 10 days out. Hey, man, hopefully your baseball tournament was killer. Hopefully your son did awesome. I'm looking to touch base again about solar, pest control, home security, whatever. Here's my number, and your Repcard link will go out with these texts as well. And so they can also always hit that link and reconnect with you. And then also another good time to use it is for post install or service. So some people will schedule a text using our system for after let's say that they're going to get installed with the service tomorrow, or it could be in a month, it could be in 3 months if you're doing solar. You could schedule a text for post install that says, hey, looks like we finally got you set up, we got you installed, got your service completed. I'd love to connect with you about a few things. Give me a call when you get a minute. And then when they call you, you can ask for reviews and referrals. Is a great way to do that, or you can ask for that directly here inside the schedule text. So you can see how just there's 4 examples there, but each of those examples can kind of spin off to different use cases based on your product or service. To be able to leverage the scheduled text component within Repcard. So let me close this
Charlie
out.
said, where in the app is this, Brad?
So this is under any contact.
Show them how to open the contact. Go back just a second and show them where from the home screen to open the contact.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry guys, I'm using this new Apple thing here. It's kind of cool, but kind of wild. Cool. So if you're at the your home page here, anytime you're accessing a contact through the contacts, or if you're doing it from the canvassing tool. So if you're like using our canvassing tool, you can come in here and go to any contact. And now you can just, whoops, I swiped the wrong way. Now you can just swipe up, and then you can go on this form here over to the schedule text.
Brad's going with all this.
And I'm realizing now we can just, we need to add it down here. So that way you don't have to go find it here. I'll have my team add it under the more section, and it'll just say schedule a text right there. So Jerry, you're on this call. If you could make a note of that for us to send over to the product team. But ultimately you go inside the schedule text piece, and then you just hit the plus sign, and it allows you to schedule a text there.
Love it. Thank you.
So,
that totally answers.
Perfect. Let's keep going. So sliding along here, let's talk about text campaigns, guys. This is extremely powerful. The fact that you don't have to go integrate with another tool on the text campaigns. They're all baked inside of Repcard. So again, when to use text campaigns? When the lead has a contract, if it's really far out, you could have them into a lead nurturing campaign that talks to them every week, every month, or so on. You won't be in the area. The lead requests a follow up, post install. So a lot of the same use cases there, but you could use a text campaign that's going to drip them different messages at different frequencies, and I'll get into this on how to build one here in a second. And then the style of communication can be either education or humor. You want to stick to one of those two, or a mixture of both. But when you communicate with the customers, you can go either route. You can't really go wrong. Education may take a little bit more effort versus humor. You kind of can just throw some funny different things into your communication. So if you go to the text campaign builder, let me find it here. It says manage campaigns here at the top. And you can also do this from the computer version, from the web if you're on a computer. But then you want to create a multi-message campaign. The single message campaigns are to repeat the same exact message at different frequencies. So if you're trying to remind someone of something over and over and over again, you could do that. But most times it's going to be this here. And so the way that works is you hit the plus, you give it a title. So you say lead nurture campaign, and you could say, 1 year. And so what's going to happen is the trigger of any campaign is when you send off your digital business card to them. You can choose to put them into a campaign, and I'll go over that in a second. We're going to work on this first. So you first have a delay. You could say, I want this first delay to be 1 day. You can go as low as days, weeks, months. I know we've had people ask, can you do it as short as minutes or hours? So that's something I'm sure we'll add in the future. But for now, it's like 1 day. So you send someone your business card. 1 day later, they get a humor message about, hey, I know it's only been 1 day, but I wanted to follow up and just let you know I really care about your getting your business, or whatever your message is. And you can say, I want that to go out as a text, an email, or both. And then you say, okay, I want to add another message. You hit the plus button. Now it defaults to a 5-day delay. You could change this to a 29-day delay. And this is 29 days from the previous message. So then you say, okay, that's great. And then you could say something like, hey, it's been a month, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And you can use tags like, hey, first name is probably the only one that you need to use. There's about 5 hidden tags. We don't expose those, not on purpose. We just haven't done that and need to build that out. But they do work. And so the main one you guys are going to use is probably hey for hashtag first name, and it's going to pull the first name of whatever contact that you're sending the message to. So if it's Cameron, it's going to say hey Cameron, blah 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 blah. And then keep in mind at the end of each message, it says right here, your business card link will be at the bottom of every message. So when you send a campaign message and it automates it for you, whatever you send here, it's going to have a tab down, and then it's going to have your business card URL, which is tied to your digital business card. So you can reference that in these messages like, hey, it's been a month, da 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 da. Feel free to check out my reviews that are on my business card link below, and so on, because it's going to have your link at the bottom there. You don't have to go and attach that link or copy paste it every time. It will automatically have your business card link. And that's partially for education and stuff like that, but also because these text messages are coming from an 844 number. They're not coming from your cell phone number. And so that way they can then hit your business card link, and they can then be able to get back in touch with you, get your phone number, get your email, and be right back in touch with you. So you can build these campaigns as long as you want. These campaigns can keep going on. And again, with the simple chat GPT session, you can have it write you some pretty cool text. You can tell it that there's a tag for the first name with the hashtag first name, and you can tell it I want to follow up at 1 day, at 10 days, at 30 days, at 60 days, 90 days, and every month for 2 years. So every person you talk to that doesn't buy from you, you can put them into a campaign, and you've got 2 years of messages firing off. They can obviously unsubscribe if they don't want the messages, but it gives you massive, massive leverage. Going back to one of our first slides that was all about leverage, and it takes time, with the power of AI and being able to write the text so fast with a little bit of copy paste, you can write a beautiful campaign. So you're probably asking yourself, like, Brad, why don't you guys just add AI to write these for you? The short answer is we're taking a download of all the different AI requests. We've just hired some engineers that are going to start engineering our AI pieces to our business. This kind of stuff we will focus on at some point, but we're looking to build some more sophisticated AI components that will allow you to do a lot more with your business. Because the ChatGPT makes this so easy to do that, and it does take a little copy paste, but the AI tools that we're going to be building are going to impact your business in a whole different way. And so you're going to probably see us build some type of AI process here where you can hit a button and then tell it what you want, and it'll write each message for you. But for now, the quick win is to use Grok or ChatGPT, have it write it, and you may have to do a little copy paste. But again, setting all that work up one time, especially if you're a leader on this call, you can build templates over here under campaigns in the back end of Repcard. You can do the same exact workflow here, give it a title, and then the ownership of the campaign, you can write it for yourself. You can write it for a certain team. You can write it for an office, or you can let it be a company-wide campaign. And that allows you to write a campaign one time, and everybody can leverage it. And so it works really cool in that regard, because then it can be written once that everybody can leverage.
Brad, can I interject for just a quick second?
Yeah.
We did have one question. Natalia said, what is the difference between single text and multi-text campaign? A single text is just one text going out. Multi-text campaign is going to be a series of multiple text messages rather than just one single text going out.
Yeah.
So that is the difference between single and multi. And then another question that I've seen a lot, Brad, is you mentioned how you can actually unsubscribe from the user standpoint. Can you also can you remove them out of that, and what triggered that to be removed?
Yeah. Yes, that's perfect. So the first question was about the single message builder. Let's say that you guys run a recruiting hangout. You do like we used to do recruiting meetings every Tuesday night. We did a little training, and then we did some games and some giveaways, give away a few $100s in gift cards, and it was a way for our internal reps to bring recruits to a meeting so that their recruits could get to know the team and the leadership of the company and ideally join. And so maybe you meet someone and you want to send them your business card, but you also want to put them into a text series that's like, hey, we're having our recruiting, our weekly recruiting, blah, blah, blah. It's over at this address, 123 Main Street. Feel free to come and join. We got pizza and we're doing giveaways. And so you write this campaign and then you want it to go out weekly at 11:37 a.m. on Tuesdays, because your recruiting meetings are Tuesdays, and you want it to end never, or you want it to end on a certain date. Maybe you go, okay, we're recruiting now in September, but we're doing summer sales, so we'll kick off our summer sales in mid-April. We're going to do this thing every Tuesday all the way until April. So maybe you go to 2026 and you're like, okay, let's go to April 1st of 2026. That's going to be the last time it would ever fire off. So then you'd hit save, and now you're going to have that ability to put that person, when you send them your business card and you go down here to select a campaign, you're going to have that recruiting option here. And I didn't save that other one that we just built, but technically it would show up here. And so that's how you start a campaign. Now someone asked, how do you end it? So if the person doesn't opt out, but you do want to end it, under the contacts, you can go into Russell Myers here, and I could go to text campaigns, and you could add them into a campaign. And just as easy, if they're in this campaign, you can just remove them here. So pretty straightforward there on how to add someone to a campaign. If it's either through the digital business card send, or it's directly from the contact. So there's one other tag that I wanted to tell you guys about, the hashtag first name. And then for you leaders out there that may be writing these, hashtag my phone number, excuse me, hashtag my phone number works as well. So when you're writing a campaign that you're going to be deploying to your 50 sales reps, you may say something like, hey, first name, it was good meeting you yesterday. I'm looking forward to doing business with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me directly at my number here. And then you put hashtag my phone number. And the phone number from whatever sales rep sent that message, it's going to use that rep's number. So 50 reps do 50 campaigns to 50 different people. It's going to say, hey, first name, and it's going to use the name of the customer. And then it's going to say, hit me back on my number. And then it's going to say my phone number, and it'll dynamically pull in the rep's phone number. Because remember, the number's coming from, or the texts are coming from an 844 number, but it will allow the homeowner to quickly access that. And then, of course, the digital business card link will be even below that. So just trying to kind of take it slow and just repeat things on this so that everybody can kind of grasp, because I know there's people at all different levels, I'm sure, on this call that are super techie, and other people that feel like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just need some help.
Hey, Brad, real fast, actually, could
Yep.
you go back and show that how to send a card again? And
Yeah.
just nice and slow, show them exactly the process of how you're sending a card and enrolling them into a campaign.
Yep. So
Thank you.
for most of you, the send card button is down here at the bottom. If you're not on our enterprise plan, you can now customize everything down here and everything up here to make it work for your business. So in this demo account, if you're a door-to-door company, usually the maps is kind of like your number one feature that you're using all day, every day. And so that's why we've replaced the send card function. But if you do hit send card, let's walk through this. So I talked to someone named Walker Hayes, put in a phone number. Here you can put in their email, walker@gmail.com, and you can say, okay, is Walker a lead, a customer, a recruit, or other? And depending on the type of person that you're sending it to, it will change your initial messages. And again, you can take a little bit of time. Hey, hashtag first name, it was nice chatting with you. Throw in some emojis. I forgot to mention that on the campaign messages. Like, make sure you're using emojis and stuff like that. It really just engages and makes people feel humanized versus just some text going out. And so you can throw that in, and then the next thing it's going to ask you is select a campaign. You don't have to choose a campaign, but you can. Let's say I wanted to use that recruiting one. And then if you're like, oh wait, that's not the right one, or I actually don't want to do that, you can just remove it there. Then you can choose to add your social media profiles. You can have different videos. You can have different call to action buttons. And then you can just hit send. That's going to start a text message directly from my phone number to theirs. So that's the first message goes out from you. And then the follow-up campaign messages will go from the 844 number. So if I go over here to this campaign now, it's going to show that they're enrolled in that recruiting campaign. Now,
so can you show us real quick those initial messages? I saw you had those like defaulted. There were some defaults there.
Yeah. So
where can I go to set those up? Because the initial campaign message or the initial message is really like message one of a campaign, right?
Yeah. Yep. So when you click on your profile picture, it'll take you to the card editor, and you can set up your initial messages there. And so for leads, this is the message that you get to write. For customers, recruits, and others, you can set those up all independently. And so this is kind of the first message of you reaching out, and then the follow-up ones start with message one of the campaign. So, and you can see, you can always text me directly at #myphone-number. Because remember, these are coming from an 844. Sorry.
Not the initial message.
Sorry,
but
not the initial one, but you can see the logic there. So if I go back to my text messages, it says, "Hey Walker, it was nice chatting with you. Below is my business card link so we can keep in touch. You can always text me directly at," and it did that. You guys, I didn't write that in the text. I used when I hit send card and I go to lead, it automatically had this curated for me because I wrote that in the initial message piece, and then it carried that all the way through into sending that to Walker. Let's jump into the mass text blast. So the first thing is holidays, and we were just talking about that. So over here in the repcard.com, the web view, you can have all your contacts in here every time you send a card. If you're an individual user, you also have a web version. You can come over here and hit leads, filter to all your leads, and then you could come over here and maybe you want to filter it out to 100 people, and you can see all these different leads. This is a bunch of test data in here. But then you could click this button here, and at the bottom there's an opportunity to do mass actions. And so you can hit mass actions, you can do different things, but one of them is send a message. And I can say I want to send a text, and I want it to say, "Hey, first name, hope you're having a great 4th of July. I wanted you to know about a special we're doing, blah, 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 blah. Reach out to me directly to get this deal, #myphone-number." Now what's cool about this, if you're a leader on this call and you have access to 100 or 1,000 different contacts, but they're split up amongst 50 different sales reps, again, when it says #myphone-number, it's going to take on the phone number of the sales rep that's tied to that contact, whoever the contact owner is. So here's a preview of your message. And then you can say, I want to enroll them into a campaign from this point on. Or maybe you don't. You want to include your profile link in here or not. And so if you do want to include your Repcard link, then you can include your social media profiles. You can have, this message could say, "Hey, watch this video. It tells you all about the package that we're offering for the 4th of July. Click on my card below and you'll see the video." And then you can add your video. And then you can have your call to action that says, "Call me, text me, get a free quote, check out this," whatever call to action you want to do or not, and then you hit send. And it would fire that off to all of those people. You can also do this with an email. Subject line, email, and so on. really cool way to leverage holidays. Whoops. Deadlines, whether they're fake or real. Sometimes in certain industries, there's deadlines, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 1 week left to get access to this deal. Sometimes companies make fake deadlines. You guys have an offer that ends at the end of July. If you watch car commercials on TV, like every car commercial is like this weekend only, 4th of July special. And then if you pay attention, it's like a week after 4th of July, and they're like, we extended the 4th of July deal, and they extended it, and they make all these fake deadlines and urgency. And so you can make those real or fake depending on your industry. If there is something around your industry and you have an article link that you want to put in that copy to show a real deadline, do it. That would be more powerful. You can also use the mass text feature for review requests. So let's say that you have, going back over here, you want to filter it by all your customers. These are all people that have purchased from you. And you want to say, okay, I want to get anybody that has not given me a review. And so you can go over here and actually look at if they've left you a review. And so you could filter these people or sort by these people and make sure that there's none in here. Okay, for these 100, now I could go and request all of these people to leave me a review. And so again, mass actions, send card, SMS. Hey, first name, would you mind leaving me a review? It would really help me out. My business card link is below, because the business card link is showing right here. It's going to be dynamically placed inside of this message. So now they generate a review for you on your Repcard, and then those can also be passed over to your Google if you've tied in that integration with us. But we don't have time to cover all the features I'm kind of dropping on this call, but if you want more help, you can reach out to support or look at our help articles or book a call with us. The other thing that you can do is also requesting referrals. That same flow we just did, obviously you would dial in people that have purchased from you, and then you could request referrals and ask for business that way. Style of education, same thing. It's always education or it's humor. You can be kind of just straight up if you don't want to choose one of these and just kind of be a little bit more dry or to the point or whatever you want to call it. But it's good to always go with one of these two. You can use third-party applications like Zapier or our API or webhooks to do different additional integrations. Now, when you're using a software like Zapier or just in general, most automations start with a trigger and they end with an action. And then you can have another action and another action and multiple actions on there at the back end. But most softwares, any software that you hear API or a webhook, what it is, it's just like there's a trigger action that happens in the platform, or a trigger, it's kind of an action, but like it's a trigger, and then there's an action that happens on the back end of that. So some examples are, maybe you convert a lead inside of Repcard to a customer. So I'll show you how to do that here. If I'm looking at this lead of Russell or Walker Hayes, and I want to convert him, he's now purchased my pest control or home security or whatever, I can then convert him to a customer. And now he's not a lead anymore. It's going to go down the journey of all of the different stages of a customer. Maybe at that point, upon me clicking that button, I want it to automatically send a text message to Walker Hayes asking for a review. And so you think through that automation going, okay, this person just purchased from us. We convert it to a customer in our system and we want it to just show up. That sounds like a great automation. And so inside of Zapier, if you're familiar with that tool, you can make it so that when the lead converts in Repcard, it does that. The other things are status changes. That can be used for various things. So maybe they're not quite a customer yet, or maybe they are a customer and they go from signed documents, they're sold, and maybe now they're in the site survey status. So for you solar guys, you'll understand this, but you can think of any flow you have in your customer journey after they buy from you. Maybe they go into a site survey status, and so the status is changing. That's the trigger, and that's just people doing business inside your company. but then you want to send a text out to the homeowner that says, hey Walker, just wanted to let you know you're now in the site survey status. We'll be reaching out to you to schedule that, but just wanted you to know your project is moving along. And so you can see how this can keep customers educated and can really help them understand where their project's at, considering the fact that they may have just purchased something from you that is a big purchase or something that's important to them. Those status changes can trigger those texts or emails to really give you and your company kind of a way to educate the homeowner on what's going on. Another status change could be to ask for referrals. So maybe they get all the way to the end, they become installed, or they get to PTO. Let's say they get installed or they get that service done at their house. Well, now that they're installed, now is a good time to ask for referrals or to ask for reviews. And you can see how there's kind of endless possibilities, but we're giving you some kind of templates here on how you can best leverage the automations and the follow-up tools within the platform. So wanted to jump over to any Q&A about this kind of stuff. Throw it in the chat.
Eddie says, I'm not able to download the Repcard on my restricted work phone, but I'd like to be able to send text message blast to prospects. Am I able to send text blast from the Repcard site directly to prospect?
Yeah, that's right here. So you just hit send card, and then you can get to the same flow of sending a text. You know, the user is who you are. If you're an owner, you could send it as someone else if you needed to send it off. But then you just put in first name, last name, phone number, email, kind of that same workflow that's in the phone, but it's just here. Cool. Guys, this is our first one. You know, we're hoping to have these workshops just get better and better and better. Bring on guests, bring on people that are just savages or experts in certain topics. Let us know what you want to hear. Yeah, just one last thing, Natalie, if you want to throw that link in the chat, we do have a way. If you guys want more one-on-one help, we have a way for you to book a call with our team. There is a cost associated with it, just because we can't obviously work with 50,000 plus people on a one-on-one basis writing their text campaigns for you. But it's an hour call you're able to book.
Yes,
that's
Natalie
kind of
and I just threw that in the chat, you guys. So click the link if you're interested in us building out your text campaigns for you. Thank you, Brad, for your training and your time. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys next week on the webinar.
Awesome.
One call.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.